Hey up everyone, welcome back to the History of Football channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing 10 Premier League footballers who were one season wonders in the competition. Of course you get some players that are there for years, you get some players that are good for a spell for a few years, and then you get others where they have one big season and are never able to replicate it again. So I'm going to bring you 10 footballers who, in my personal opinion anyway, were one season wonders in the Premier League. I hope you enjoy the video and stay tuned for the rest of it. First player I'm going to be talking about is Arshavin. After a great Euro 2008 with Russia, he caught the eye of Arsenal. He signed for them in the 2009 January transfer window. He scored 4 goals in a 4-4 draw away to Liverpool at Anfield, and also he was named Premier League's Player of the Month in April and also Arsenal's Player of the Month in April and May. He was voted, so he had the second most amount of votes for the Arsenal Player of the Year as well, despite having only been there for half a season. Unfortunately, Arshavin could not replicate the form from that half season in 2009. By 2012, he was loaned to Zenit St. Petersburg, who he played with before moving to Arsenal, and in 2013 he rejoined Zenit St. Petersburg on a permanent deal. Michael Bridges, he was signed from Sunderland by Leeds United for £5 million in 1999, and in his first season at Leeds United he scored 19 Premier League goals, including a hat-trick in his second game against Southampton. However, Bridges then suffered a serious injury towards the back end of that season, and he was never able to replicate the form that he had with Leeds United in his first year at the club. He was sold a couple of years later, and then he ended up becoming a bit of a journeyman, and he finished his career out in Australia with semi-professional side Lambton Jaffers. He also played for Sydney FC over there. He played for Carlisle United, he played for Hull City. He even returned back to Sunderland, but couldn't recapture the form there either. And as I said earlier, he became a bit of a journeyman. Amir Zaki for Wigan Athletic during the 2008-2009 season. Amir Zaki joined Wigan Athletic on loan, and in his first 6 matches with Wigan, he scored 5 Premier League goals, including a volley against Liverpool at Anfield. Zaki scored 10 goals in 29 appearances for Wigan on loan. However, his career took a bit of a nosedive when he refused to return to Wigan after being on World Cup qualifying duty with Egypt. Zaki was given a huge fine, and Steve Bruce, the manager of Wigan at the time, said that he was the most unprofessional player he had ever worked with. Following on from this, Zaki had an opportunity to join Portsmouth. However, he turned down the move reportedly because there were 2 Algerian players and an Israeli player on the Portsmouth team, which caused a lot of controversy as well. Michael Ricketts for Bolton during the 2001-2002 season. Michael Ricketts were on fire for Bolton. He scored 13 goals for the club in the league before February, and he even earned an England call-up, his solitary cap where he failed to score a goal. After which his form nosedived at Bolton. He ended up being signed by Middlesbrough, where he didn't really impress for them. He then signed for Leeds United, where he didn't even score a league goal in 2 years at the club, and after which he became a bit of a journeyman. But for that one brief season in 2001/2002, Michael Ricketts were on fire. He scored a lot of important goals for Bolton, and he's another player on the list. Adnan Januzaj during the 2013-2014 season for Manchester United. I remember this one quite well. It sticks out for me because a lot of people said he was going to be the future of Manchester United. He was a rare talent. He was going to be the next Eric Cantona. And he had a very good season in 2013-2014. He scored a memorable brace against Sunderland. However, after that, he was just never the same player again for Manchester United. He only had the one good season for them in the Premier League. And he ended up on loan at Sunderland. Since being released by Manchester United, he played for 5 seasons in La Liga with Real Sociedad. He also played for Sevilla in La Liga, and he spent a year in Turkey with Istanbul Başakşehir, and the last club he played for was on loan at Las Palmas back in La Liga. Andy Johnson during the 2004/2005 Premier League season. The year before in the Championship, Andy Johnson scored over 30 goals for the club as they were promoted. And as a promoted side, he scored 21 goals for Crystal Palace. Only Thierry Henry scored more goals in the competition. Yes, some of these goals were penalties, but he were on fire in that 2004-2005 season for Crystal Palace. He almost single-handedly kept them up in the Premier League. The year after, when they were relegated, he still scored goals for Crystal Palace, which earned him a move back into the Premier League with Everton, and then he ended up playing for Fulham as well. Benni McCarthy during the 2006-2007 season for Blackburn Rovers. He scored 18 Premier League goals in just over 30 matches for the club that year. He scored even more goals than Cristiano Ronaldo that year. Put that into perspective. But after that, he could only manage 8 goals the following year, 10 goals the year after that. And then he ended up at West Ham United, where he scored no Premier League goals between 2010 and 2011. He would then finish his career in the South African League with the Orlando Pirates. Another Blackburn Rovers player, Roque Cruz, during the 2007-2008 season. He scored 19 Premier League goals in his first season in the Premier League, 23 goals in total in all competitions. He signed from Bayern Munich for £5 million. But after that season, he was never able to replicate that form in the Premier League. 2 years later, he signed for Manchester City for around £17.5 million, and he only managed to score 4 Premier League goals in 2 seasons with Manchester City. Papiss Cisse during the 2011-2012 Premier League season for Newcastle United. He joined the club from SC Freiburg in Germany, and he lit the Premier League alight, scoring 13 Premier League goals in 14 Premier League appearances. 2 goals which really stand out for me were the 2 that he scored against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The first one were brilliant. The second one were probably one of the best goals I've ever seen. He curled the ball from 37 yards out from an acute angle, and it sailed over Petr Cech's head into the goal. It was also BBC's goal of the year, and it was just an unbelievable goal. But Cisse was never able to recapture that form from the first year. He only scored 24 goals in the next 4 years that he were at Newcastle United. After this, Cisse was sold to Shandong Luneng in China, and he was pretty much never heard from again, really. He ended his career with Amiens in France in Ligue 2, second division in France. He was still scoring goals, to be fair, but he pretty much fell off the radar for most people. The last player on this list is Miguel Perez Cuesta, also known as Michu. He scored 18 Premier League goals for Swansea City in the 2012-2013 Premier League season. For most of his career, Michu played in the Segunda Division in Spain. Just before he signed with Swansea City, he scored 15 goals in just over 30 appearances for Rayo Vallecano in the La Liga competition. And he just kind of burst on the scene from nowhere. He was banging goals in left, right and centre. And he had probably one of the best Premier League debut seasons since the rebranding of the competition in the early 90s. But with a lot of players on this list, he could not replicate the form he had in that year. The following season, he managed only 2 Premier League goals in just under 20 appearances for Swansea City. He was then loaned out to Napoli, where he scored no goals, and he finished his career in the Segunda Division with Oviedo, where he scored 1 goal in 27 league appearances for them. But when it comes to Premier League one-season wonders, you would have to throw Michu near the top of the list for most people. He's the first name off most people's list when they think of one-season Premier League wonders. So that concludes my video. 10 Premier League players who were one-season wonders. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. If there's any players that I missed, let me know in the comment section below as well. And let me know who your 10 players are. Of course, this list was in no particular order. It was just 10 players. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch us all later in the next one. Alright, tatty bye for now.